And good morning to those joining our live stream. And we just want to welcome you to the Lord's house today. And it's good to be with you. And we have someone who is with us for the first time today, but I don't see him now. Well, anyhow, if you see Michelle, you will see a little baby boy not too far from her that she's pretty proud of. And his name, is it Finn? Finley. So this is his first time in church today. So if you see him someplace, just throw him a wave. And let me share some things with you going on in the life of the church. Tonight, I'm going to be meeting with the trustees at 6 o'clock as we put our new church budget. There he is. So everyone just kind of throw him a wave. So welcome, welcome. Very good. All right. So I'll be meeting with the trustees tonight for our budget meeting. And then ladies will be meeting tomorrow for their Bible study. And remember, this week, our Wednesday evening Bible study moves back here to church, so we will not be using Zoom anymore, but we'll be meeting here at 7 o'clock. And if you have been part of that study, there are handouts there in the foyer that you might want to pick up. One is the new study questions for Wednesday evening. And then if you haven't been able to be a part of it, we'd love to have you join us. So there are some other handouts there for you to pick up as well. And then Wednesday evening after the Bible study, we'll have our monthly church board meeting, and that's going to be returning to church as well. So board members, please take note of that. And then let's see, I'm checking my notes here, be sure I get everything in. Okay, so then next Sunday, I'll have some information to share with you in light of everything that's supposed to take place in June as far as the states and different restrictions being removed. So I'll have new information to share with you on that pertaining the life of our church. And just be in prayer for your district superintendent, because they had everything in place for district assembly, and now all of that's being revamped. So I'm sure that's a frustrating process for them. Okay, so we have some distinguished individuals with us today, and I'm going to just share a little bit with you about them, and then we're going to recognize them at the end of the service. But I want to share with you Alex Overly will be graduating Shenandoah High School. Well, I guess he graduated last night and is planning to attend Muskingum University in the fall, working on a business degree. And then Clayton Bettinger will be graduating Mideast Career Center as a power lineman, and then also Caldwell High School. And he's been in a 2-year apprenticeship and is employed with Westerville Electric, and he's planning just to continue on working. Kira Theobald will be graduating Caldwell High School, and she's going to be attending the Art Academy of Cincinnati to earn a fine arts degree in painting and drawing. I love her picture. And then Maddie Foreman will be graduating from Mideast Career Center. And then TJ will be graduating Caldwell, and he's planning to attend Baldwin Wallace University in the fall to work on a degree in software engineering, which sounds kind of intriguing. And then he's also playing football for the university. And he shared in his text to me that a future goal, he'd like to work to become a head high school football coach. So I could see you doing that, TJ. And then James Reeves has been attending Trekka Digital Academy, and he plans to attend diesel mechanic school. And then we've got two college graduates. Elizabeth Abrams graduated Zane State with an associate's degree in business and marketing, and she's planning to continue her education at Franklin University, working on a bachelor's degree. And then we have Beth Schaefer, who graduated Carson Newman University with her nurse practitioner degree, and then here in a couple of months, or weeks, months? Okay, very soon. Very soon, she's going to be working on her family nurse practitioner certification. So we'll be letting you know when that takes place, so we can pray her through that certification test. So I just wanted to share with you the graduates that we're going to be honoring here at the end of the service, and those that are not able to be with us today, we'll catch up with them during this week. So I wonder if you have any praises that you would like to share this morning. Anything going on this past week? God answered prayer, did something very special that you want to share about.
He wasn't hurt, no injuries. The truck is messed up a little. You can't really tell unless you're standing right on top of it, right in front of it. It's the grill area and the brush guard. The insurance company is trying to get. The woman asked him why couldn't he have stopped per minute, and Mason's like, well, it was either hit the guy or hit the guy beside him. So they're just having problems with the insurance company now.
All right. Any other praises? Patty?
I'm here. Actually, I am improving with my walking, and I praise God for that. With physical therapy, I've been able to go from walker to cane, and I have several days where I can even walk without the cane.
Well, very good.
So the good Lord is healing me, maybe not as fast as I want it to, but it is getting there. And the pain is, I won't say gone, but it's down tolerable level.
Okay, very good. Very good. Was there somebody else over here? Penny?
Richard got a good report this week. He's graduated to a boot, but still not weight bearing.
All right, very good. And we still have them on our prayer list. Any other praises? All right. How about prayer requests that you may have today? I've got several written down, but any that you would like to share?
Jackie has to have an echocardiogram, but she can't have it until June 23rd, so I'm praying for her.
All right. Any others? Patty?
My daughter Erica, the tests are indicating that she has MS.
Okay.
She has to go to Cleveland Clinic for a definitive diagnosis. This is going to sound weird, but I'm grateful that it's MS and not ALS. ALS took her father, and that's what we were afraid of. But it's MS. She's in the early stages, and I guess my prayer is that they find it, they treat her, everything goes well, that she gets to have a normal life at the hospital.
All right.
And she's doing okay being told this, because she's like me, it's like, well, at least it's not ALS. So.
All right. Very good. Any others? Linda?
Please remember Mike's brother Dale. I know you have him on your list, but he's back in the Cleveland Clinic right now, and he's in a lot of pain. His bones, he said, are hurting him. So he was having a pain management team meet with him today.
Okay.
But I think that's the one thing, that is hard for him.
All right. Any others? Heather?
At the end of the month, there's going to be a lot of travel with us picking up Amara and taking her to Alice's and meeting her mom both weekends. So just travel mercies that everything works out.
Very good. And we want to remember our graduates, continue to remember Barb Border, Dolores, Kyle, continued prayers for Richard and Linda's brother, and Dave, Kevin. Remember our prayer wall, and the first responders and the military on it. And I'm sure that there's several unspoken requests. Any others that you want to share? All right. Well, let's spend some time here in prayer together. Father, as we come into your presence today, we do just want to stop at the very beginning and just say thank you for how you've been with us this week. I'm sure that there's been people, a lot of traveling, different places, maybe special places. And just thank you for the watch, care, and protection. Thank you for those answers to prayer that we've heard about. Thank you, just Lord, for those blessings that you bring into our life just because you love us, and for all of those that's been experienced this week. Just thank you that you are here with us today. Thank you that you're with those that are watching our live stream today. And just thanks for all that you have done. And as we come before you this morning, we do ask that you would be with the different needs, that you would be with all the needs that would be shared as unspoken. And we know that you know who or what is represented by that. So just release your power into those situations and into those people's lives. We do ask that you would continue to be with the COVID-19 situation across our nation and just even here in our state, and be with the changes that the restrictions that are being lifted, and how individuals and businesses and groups, how that impacts them and the changes that they need to make. So just be with everyone that's a part of that and impacted by that it'll be a smooth transition. We do ask that you would be with our first responders and our military that are on the prayer wall, and just be with all of them wherever they're at today. If they're off duty, help them to have an awesome day of just being able to rest. If they're on duty, we just ask that you put them in a bubble of protection, but be with both of those groups today and their families. We ask that you continue to be with Kevin and Dale and Dave and Linda's brother and Richard and Kyle and Patty and Dolores and Barb, Heather with the traveling, and Erica and Jackie and Connie, just all of those needs. We ask, Lord, that you would be with our graduates. You know, some are graduating high school and they'll be transitioning to college. Some are going to be graduating and transitioning right into a career. So we just ask that you would be with them. Give them divine wisdom and discernment for the future, and open the doors that they need opened. We ask that you'd be with our college graduates, and Elizabeth, as she's going to be working on this bachelor's degree. Be with Beth as she prepares for this certification exam. And Lord, it's exciting times, but it's also scary times, because there's a lot of changes, a lot of things going on for all of the graduates and their families. And so we just ask that you'd be with them, and that would be just a very easy transition for them, and they would see you at work, guiding and directing and helping there. We ask, Lord, that you would be with us just in our time together today as we open your word, and Lord, that you would speak some words of encouragement and challenge to our graduates, but not just them, for all of us. Everyone that's here throughout our worship facility, and those that are watching our live stream, that, Lord, there's something for all of us today. So help us to see those truths that you want each of us to grab hold of. Lord, we ask that you would just be with the tithes and the offerings that people have brought in today, that you would bless those and use them as this church family ministers in our community. So we ask that you would bless that. Again, Lord, just thank you for being with us today. Thank you for all that you've done and all that you're going to do. And we ask this in your name. Amen. there was a woman who was she was exploring a new library complex, and this was located on the bottom floor of a new community center complex. And as she was exploring, she suddenly heard just a loud crash from overhead, and it literally shook the room. And a few minutes later, the same thing happened. And then a few minutes after that, it happened again. And so an agitated librarian finally explained to the lady that a weightlifting room was positioned directly above, and the noise occurred every time somebody dropped a weight. You see, for all of the architects, for all of the designers who had carefully planned all the details, all the aspects of this state-of-the-art facility, somebody had failed to locate that library away from all the action. Now, I realize the title of today's message might seem a little strange when you first see it or you first hear it. But if you take a moment and if you allow the wording of that message, if you just kind of process it, there's a powerful message there, failing to succeed. Now, we're not talking about, well, you didn't succeed, you failed, but rather learning how to use failure to help us to succeed. You see, failure is a part of the learning process. It's part of succeeding. For our graduates today and for all of us, if we're going to succeed at something, if we're going to be successful, then it's just a pretty good chance, it's a pretty good bet that along the way, we're going to experience some failures. And people will be watching us to see how we handle it. So when we experience failure, we basically have two choices. We've basically got two responses. The first response is that we learn from it. We grow from it. We learn something from it, and we can move forward to be successful. The other option is we're just defeated by it. We give up. We quit. So this morning, for a few moments, I want to share some principles for our grads, but really for all of us, even those watching our live stream. I want to share some principles to help us to relate to this idea, to pull this idea together about failing to succeed. And there's a scripture found in the Old Testament, Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 through 7, and it reads this way: "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your paths straight. Do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord and shun evil." So I mentioned there's a couple of principles I want us to think about. And the first one is this, is that attempting new things carries the potential for failure. A lot of you know Thomas Edison. He failed many times, yet he made 1,100 inventions. When he was working on the idea of making artificial light, the incandescent light bulb, he couldn't find a filament that would give good light when the electricity went through it. He spent 2 years experimenting with thousands of material, everything from a blade of grass to wire made from platinum. Finally, he used a carbonized thread, which is basically cotton sewing thread that's burned to ash. But the idea is that anytime we attempt something new, and then try to apply that knowledge, we got the potential for failure. Now, many of you, and this is not like a subliminal message for you to go to McDonald's, but many of you enjoy Big Macs. And one reason why you may enjoy that is that special sauce that's on there. But I want you to think about something. Do you realize that sauce just didn't happen overnight? Somebody didn't go into a laboratory and throw some ingredients together and voila, there it was the first time. It took some trial and error. It took some failures to get to that point. When McDonald's franchise owner Jim Delegate first came up with his double patty, triple bun creation in 1967, he needed the perfect sauce to top it off. So by 1968, the Big Mac went national, and it featured this delicious, creamy sauce. I've never had one. But over the next few years, the ingredients were tweaked. But do you see in there, it just didn't happen one time and that was it. There was some failure to take place to get them to where they succeeded on their creation. Charles Kettering said that we have come to fear failure too much. Failure is the practice essential for success. So don't let the potential for failure to keep you from trying and learning new things. You may fail, but you may not fail. But life is about learning, and it's about doing new things. And for our graduates, you've processed a lot of information over 12 years. And for our college students, it's even longer than that. And you're going to be learning as long as you're living. You know, there's a saying, nothing ventured, nothing gained. It's an old saying, but it means that in order to achieve, you've got to take risk. So don't let the possibility of failure paralyze you from succeeding in something new. The other principle is this: be determined to learn from your failures. That's how you're going to succeed. Failure should be our teacher, not our undertaker. Failure is not delay. It's not defeat. Failure is delay, not defeat, excuse me. It is a temporary detour, but it's not a dead-end street. A believer once wrote Emerson, is never disturbed because other persons do not yet see the fact which he sees. Charles Goodyear was a believer, even though others would not yet see what he saw. At one point in his life, in fact, he actually had himself thrown into jail in order to gain time to reach his goals. One of America's top 10 industrial inventors, Goodyear was a failure for years. He owed money to family and neighbors and even relatives who staked him. He was penniless in 1838 when he discovered the process of vulcanizing rubber. But by that time, his invention still needed to be perfected, and the creditors were hounding him. And despite how much he hated the idea, he filed for bankruptcy protection. Soon afterwards, he was thrown into jail because of contempt of court. And there, without any distractions, he was able, behind prison bars, to perfect his process. And he not only paid off his creditors, but he made fortunes for those who had kept faith in him. Failure doesn't have to have the final word. When we experience failure, what counts is how we respond to it and what we do with it. And like I mentioned a moment ago, we can either learn from it, we can make another attempt, or we can just allow it to defeat us and we give up. Now, I didn't ask them if I could use them as examples today, but I think of Alex and TJ. We know that both of them went to the state wrestling competition. They both wrestled at the state level. But I'm sure if you talk to them today, they would tell you that they had some failure along the way. There was some matches that they lost, but they learned from it and they was able to move forward. Failure can be a great teacher for us. Our failures, if you think about it, our failures can actually develop us if we allow them to. The key is to turn them to our advantage. Think about it. All of us here today, well, except maybe for Finley, but all of us here today, when we were toddlers and learning to walk, we had a lot of failure. We had a lot of falls. But we learned from those falls, and guess what? Most of us are walking today. Maybe some a little bit better than others, but we're walking today. We learn from our failures. Well, the other principle I want us to think about is the keys to failing to succeed. Let's go back to our scripture. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your paths straight. Don't be wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord and shun evil. So graduates, I've known most of you almost 19 years. And I want you to know that I love each one of you and I care about each one of you. And in a few moments, I'm going to have you join me here at the front, and you're going to receive a gift bag, and there's several things in that. But I want you to know that one of the things that you're going to receive today, I've put my business card in, and I've got my phone numbers on the back. And I want you to know, well, before I share this, what I'd really like for you to do before you leave today is to either put that card in your wallet or put that phone number in your cell phone. Probably most of you have got my number. But I want you to have that number because I want you to know that if you ever need anything, and I don't care if it's night or day, I don't care if it's 3 o'clock in the morning, I want you to call me. Because if there's anything that I can do to help you, I will. And I want you to know that. But if you'd ask me today, okay, so PJ, what are some keys for learning how to fail to succeed? Well, here's my 3 best answers. And the first one is this. Get God involved in everything from the get-go. I think I see that in verse 5 of that scripture. Get God involved in the things that you think are insignificant. Get him involved in the things that you think, you know what, I can handle this. I don't want to bother God with this. I don't want to trouble God with this. He's busy running the world and he's got all kinds of people that need help. You know, I can handle this. It's small. I can do it. I won't trouble him with that. And I want you to know, don't buy into that line of thought. Don't buy into that line of thinking, because God cares about the little things as well as the big things. He cares about all of it. So don't worry about bothering him. That's what he wants you to do. So get into the habit of asking him for his help in everything that you do from the very beginning. And I just have to tell you from personal experience, I have found that to be true. Because I can start something that I think ought to go really easy. It just blows up in my face. But there's just this funny thing that if I stop and I ask God to help, even if it's something, someone might say, seriously, you asked God to help you with that? And I would say, yeah, I did, because I know from experience, if I get him involved at the beginning, things go a whole lot easier. And even if it's something that seems like it just ought to be a given that it falls together, he can help it to stay together from the get-go. So get God involved in everything that you do from the very beginning. And then bring all your plans, all your desires, all your goals to God. I think I see that in verse 6. Run them by him for his approval, for his blessing, asking for his help with them. You know, he wants the very best for you and I. And he's got a plan. He's got a purpose for your life. You're not here by accident. You're not here by chance. God created you. He breathed a breath of life into your soul. Listen, each one of us here today is a walking masterpiece. We are fearfully and wonderfully made. So he's got a plan. He's got a purpose for our life. So bring all of your plans and desires before him. Listen, here's the neat thing about God. He knows the future. He knows what's out there. He knows what's ahead. He knows you because he created you and he wired you and he's gifted you There are certain things that you're really good at. And he knows how to bring that all together. He knows how to pull that all together for you. So bring all of your plans to him. And then, verse 7, develop your relationship with God at all costs. Develop your relationship with him. Listen, the most important thing in this world is your relationship with God. I know it's important in pursuing a career, and we want to make sure that we've got enough money to live on, and we've got money saved back for retirement, and vehicles to drive, and a house to live in. And all of that is right and important. But the most important thing is our relationship with God. And so for all of us, I want to challenge us today to make sure that we are in a right relationship with God. What is your relationship with him today? This is not something that can be neglected. It's not something that we can put off for a later time. It is something that we have to take very serious. We need connection with each other. We need connection with the church family. We need connection with other believers on a regular basis. So as you head off to college, as you begin this new career, you're going to encounter a whole new group of people. You're going to encounter a whole new worldview that is not always going to be God-friendly or Jesus-friendly. And you are going to be challenged in your faith and your beliefs. Somebody once said that we'll either leave our mark on the world or it will leave its mark on us. And I want to encourage you to leave your mark on the world. In Proverbs 4, verse 23, the writer says, above all else, guard your heart, for it is the wellspring of life. Guard your hearts. And I have shared this for several years now, but I want to share it with you today, graduates. And that is, please remember, because you're going out into a whole new world, a whole new ball game, please remember that there is nothing and there is no one that is worth trading Jesus for. Absolutely, there is no one and nothing worth trading him for. I want to encourage you to make it your daily habit to spend time alone with God in prayer, to spend time in his word. Don't neglect that, because if you neglect it and it's neglected for a period of time, you'll totally get out of the habit. Listen, even if you only have 5 minutes or 10 minutes, take that time to stay connected. Listen, this world is not our home. This world is temporary. We're only passing through on our way to eternity. When I mentioned just a moment ago that we can't neglect this, our relationship with God. We can't put it off. We've got to take it seriously. We've got to nurture it. A lot of people are planting gardens now. And you know what? They don't put those plants in the ground and then walk away and say, good luck, I'll see you in the fall. But they're out there every day. They're watering, they're hoeing, they're taking care of it, they're nurturing. And that's the same thing of our relationship with Lord, because we don't know how much time we have. And so we have to work daily. We have to nurture that daily. Some of you may have seen this in the news. You may have seen it on Facebook. But I think it illustrates perfectly that we've got to take our relationship seriously, because we don't know how much time we have. This young Georgia firefighter died in his sleep. His first shift, his first tour of duty at the fire station. All the years of preparation, all the training, everything that he had prepared for first tour of duty, first shift, and he passes away in his sleep. We don't know how much time we have, so we've got to make the most of it. A man was out walking in the desert when he heard a voice. And the voice said to him, "Pick up some pebbles and put them in your pocket. Tomorrow you will be both sorry and glad." And the man obeyed. He stooped down, he picked up a handful of pebbles and put them in his pocket and went on his way. The next morning he reached in to those pockets and he found diamonds, he found rubies, and he found emeralds. And he was both glad and sorry. Glad that he had obeyed and he had taken some of them, but sorry that he hadn't taken more. But that's the way that it is with education. Make it a priority to keep learning. Keep learning for your career. Some of your careers you'll have to take continuing ed. Some of your careers you'll have to continue to learn to be able to advance. But keep learning in your career. Keep learning in life in general. Don't ever forget the principle of failing to succeed. Be okay with failing to help you to learn to succeed. At this point in the service, I just want to let our live stream viewers know that we appreciate you joining us today. We would like for you to fill in the Google questions so that we can know who's joining us today, and that you would share this link with someone that they can watch this video and maybe find help from it. And then here's our contact information for those that would like to contact us, and we especially ask that you would drop us a line to share any prayer requests with us. But at this time, I'm going to ask Josh to go ahead and close down our live stream.